everybody. So there is an update to our immigration. Um, so yesterday we got probably the second most dreaded notice from USCIS. The first, of course, would be an absolute denial. That would be something that is any immigrant or pending immigrant's worst nightmare. The second is a request for evidence, um, which, if you think about it, isn't really a bad thing because a request for evidence, that just means that they need clarification on something. And instead of them just outright denying it, which they have a right to do, they're actually just wanting you to clarify or send in documents that you had forgotten. So, one of the bad things about this is when you have email or text alert notification that whenever USCIS has did any kind of update to your case, sorry, I just got out of the shower. Whenever they do any kind of update to your case, you get a notification, and the notification tells you what action was taken. So in this instance, a request for evidence, but they don't tell you what evidence that they're wanting. So there's that 2 or 3 day wait period, and it is absolute hell because you're just sitting there and you're trying to go over everything. But luckily, I had kept a copy of my I-130 petition that I had submitted. So I scrutinized it, and there I had gone overboard, so I thought, with my I-130. I submitted evidence of the relationship, photos. I had just, I'd rather send in too much stuff than not enough stuff and either get a denial or a request for evidence. So going through everything, I saw that on page 34, the scan, well, it'd be the print of the translation of our marriage certificate was faded. It was very, very hard to read. So sure enough, yesterday I received the official notice from immigration, and that is exactly what it was. It said that it appeared that I was attempting to send them a translation of the marriage certificate, and um, they cited the law, whatever, stating that any pending immigrant you have to have translation if it's not in English. So right away, I rescanned the document, put in fresh toner in the printer, made it as crisp as I could, and put it back in the mail, 2-day priority mail. So by not taking the time to go through the 110 pages that I had submitted with my I-130, that was including the I-130, which I don't remember. The I-130 is what, maybe 8 pages, if that, something like that. It's not very complicated at all. If I had taken the time to verify, because I had the I-130 checklist, and so as I was scanning documents, I was like, okay, this is birth certificate, American citizenship. I submitted my copy of my passport, global entry, TSA. I did everything to establish my residency, so my citizenship, so that way nothing would be in question. And so it delays everything up to 2 months because no telling how long it's going to sit in their big old pile of mail, and then the sorter or screener, whoever, has to prioritize it and then do whatever they do. I don't know what their procedures are in house. So, to kind of recap, I am married to an Argentine. I am married to another man. So, I got back from, we've been having a long distance relationship. August of 2018, we got married. I came home in November. I let the holidays go by and everything, and so at the end of December, beginning of January, I mailed in the I-130 with all the paperwork. And then it took probably about 6 weeks for me to get the notification that they had received it. And so the date was like January 6th or January 9th was, their date. So, and now I submitted, so it took, oh gosh, I'm busy at work and everything. I think this is March 7th. Is it the 7th? Alexa, what's the date?
It's Friday, February 7th.
Okay, so on the 5th, that's when they sent the request. So January, February, so 12, 13, 14 months. The estimated time through the immigration website, because you know how you can go on there and get an estimate of the processing times for wherever you submit your I-130 or whatever document you had submitted. It was listing like 16 months or something like that. So I knew I was in for, a long wait. So, but the relief is that it's almost to the end. And so the moment I did the I-130, I had started filling out the I-485, the financial sponsorship. That's not the right term for it. Liability, I don't know. I'm so tired, sorry. So I already started getting together all those documents, so that way the moment I get the approval notice, because you have to submit a copy of the approval notice with your the final packet. You have to submit it, and then it goes back to USCIS, and then they send it to your spouse's country, for processing. The big pain for us, and I think it's for anybody really that's kind of like in countries, I want to say, I'm trying to think of when I was in France, just on tourism, I never really paid attention before where an embassy was. My mindset wasn't there. But in 2010, when I went to Armenia, I was more of aware because of 9/11 and all that. So I was paying closer attention to where American embassies were in case something were to happen or whatever. And the only American embassy in Armenia was in Yerevan, which I happened to be. So just like in Argentina, there's only one American embassy, and that's in Buenos Aires. So for my husband to get there, he lives in a smaller city. He has to take a 2-hour bus ride and then catch a plane from the medium-sized city. He has to take a flight to Buenos Aires, and then from there do his medical and go to his immigration interview. And so, yeah, if you're not in the major capital, in the major city where the embassy is, it's kind of a challenge, to navigate and get to your immigration appointment. It can become costly. So what we decided to do originally, after he gets his passport with the temporary visa, he was going to fly back, take the bus back home, say goodbye to family, do everything he needs. And I was saying, why go through all that? Just say bye to everybody, and then when you go and pick up your passport, then jump on a plane to the United States. So that's what we're going to do. Well, that's what he's going to do. So, and then we'll be able to resume the life that we've been waiting a very long time. Actually, just going through the whole relationship, we've been together 5 years. So, we're kind of used to being apart, where we only spend, like 4 or 5 months together, and then we're apart for a year, and then see each other again. So we decided last time I was there to just go ahead and, just make it permanent and get married and start the immigration process, because we really wanted to just build a life together. But so yeah, that's the update. So if you get a request for evidence, don't panic. It's actually, unless you have documents that you don't have, they give you when it's on the other page. Oh no, here, May 3rd is when I had to get it back to them. So they gave me 60 days. Oh no, that's not. They gave me 90 days. That's May. Almost 90 days. A long time. So like, if it's where we forgot to get a translation of a birth certificate or a translation of the marriage certificate, then that's something that your spouse would have to handle in their native country. Especially if it's a birth certificate. I don't know. They gotta have translators here in the United States, but I've never had any real success at finding a translator. But in Argentina, we were able to find a notary, a translator at the English college there, and they were authorized, and they were able to notarize and do everything, and it wasn't that expensive. So just, if you are getting married, go through and make sure you look at your checklist. That is really important. And just make sure, if you are in another country where you and your spouse are getting married, be forward thinking, and just remember that you need those birth certificates, you need the translations, you need your marriage certificate, you need your official copy and your translated copy. And then if you're married to somebody who has children that's still under the age of 18, they can piggyback off of your I-130, and then you're gonna have to get the translations of their birth certificates and stuff like that. I'm not an attorney. This isn't advice. What else could I disclaim? Any immigration questions that you may have, seek a professional attorney. Anyways. But if you do have some general questions about the process, just comment below and ask, and I'll be more than happy to. If I don't know, at least I'll do some research and try to find out for you. But I know that with their current president, administration, I know, especially in the gay community, there's this huge fear, this anxiety that's been created by Democrats to kind of exasperate this sense of oppression, and like, oh, Trump and his administration, they're going to come get you. And that's really, at least for me, that hasn't been my experience. Petitioning for same-sex immigration, there hasn't been any problems at all. There hasn't been like this. If I, in my mind, my way of thinking, if they had some quiet orders or something in-house going on, they would have just immediately denied the petition. They wouldn't even did a request for evidence. There's none of that. So anyways, good luck. And as we go through this, I'll keep updating videos, and hopefully soon we'll be doing a video together, so the videos will transition into, he's never been to the United States before. When we first started dating, he didn't even know English, but he studied and he learned English so that way he could communicate with me, so that way we could date. And that's kind of where it's been going. He's fluent in English now, and he's never been to an English-speaking country. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to film from the first day he gets out the airplane. He's never had American food. He's never been inside of a movie theater. Just all the things that we take for granted, in American life or, large cities or whatever, he's never experienced. So it's going to be really fun and interesting to be able to show and introduce him to that and just go through the whole immigration and like first American, to just start your life as an American. That's going to be really exciting. So thank you for watching. Any questions, any guidance on like the type of videos you would like to see, I'd be more than happy to take that into consideration and do videos like that. So good luck, and I'll see you soon.